WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5:30.
Right now at 5:30, a dramatic kidnapping attempt caught on camera at a store. Plus, there's an arson investigation now underway following this massive wildfire. And an opportunity to own your very own, very large MSU Spartan head from one of the scoreboards. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. Let's start the clock on our first 6 minutes of news. And we begin tonight in Detroit, where a former Riverfront Conservancy official was just sentenced to 19 years in prison for embezzling millions of dollars. William Smith was sentenced in federal court today. He pleaded guilty to stealing $40 million from the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. The 52-year-old is also responsible for $48 million in restitution and will be on supervised release for 3 years after he gets out of prison. Smith pleaded guilty in November of 2024 to 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering. Also in Detroit, back in January, Ricardo Prada Vasquez, who is originally from Venezuela, took a wrong turn and ended up crossing the Ambassador Bridge into Canada. He was detained trying to re-enter the U.S. through the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel and then disappeared. Well, finally, on Tuesday, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security confirmed on social media that Vasquez was sent to El Salvador on March 15th. The agency called reporting by the New York Times that he did not appear on the list of people sent to a prison there fake. The agency also claims without evidence that Prada Vasquez is a member of a violent criminal gang. Over in West Michigan, the city of South Haven is once again looking for a police chief for the 3rd time in a year. The newest chief, Dennis Honholt, resigned today after it was discovered he did not quit from his previous job in Tennessee before taking the Michigan job. As of this afternoon, he was still listed on a website as the public safety director of Dover, Tennessee. Contacted by a Tennessee newspaper, Honholt reportedly said, quote, "I don't have to explain anything." The U.S. Department of Energy just released about $47 million to Holtec International, the company planning to restart the Palisades nuclear power plant in Van Buren County. It would be the first restart of a closed nuclear reactor in U.S. history. The U.S. Energy Secretary says the plant is part of President Donald Trump's plan for energy that is reliable and secure. The money is part of a $1.5 billion federal loan guarantee finalized under former President Joe Biden's administration. Well, take a look at this. Dozens of people rushed to help a mom stop a man from driving away with her young children in this vehicle in Florida last month. The newly released video shows the mom hanging on to the side of the SUV as others run to stop him. They did get the children out of the vehicle, and police did catch up with the man later in the day. In this update from New Jersey, a 19-year-old man is facing arson charges tonight, accused of intentionally starting a massive wildfire on Tuesday in New Jersey by setting wooden pallets on fire. Firefighters still working tonight to put out the blaze. As of this afternoon, flames have eaten up at least 15,200 acres, and at one point, officials say the fire was threatening around 1,300 structures. In the Middle East today, Gaza's health ministry says Israeli strikes have killed at least 50 people, many of them women and children. The strikes tore into residential buildings, a police station, and a tent for displaced Palestinians, among other locations. Palestinian health officials say one strike in northern Gaza killed at least 18 people and another killed 11, including at least 1 child. The Israeli military says the strike on the police station targeted a militant command center. Rescue teams in Kyiv also working tonight to clear rubble and recover bodies after a major Russian strike on the Ukrainian capital. The missiles and drones killed at least 9 people and injured more than 70. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's cutting his official trip to South Africa short and returning home now. The Russian attack on Kyiv came as weeks of peace negotiations appeared to be coming to a head without an agreement in sight. A new crew of 3 astronauts. They launched this afternoon on a mission to replace the crew of China's orbiting space station. Hours before the launch, the three were greeted with a cheering crowd and band music. Their spaceship is planned to dock at the space station after about 7 hours, according to the China Manned Space Agency. And while in space, the astronauts will carry out experiments on space life and human body research, microgravity science, and new space technologies. Back here in the United States, a federal judge today blocked Trump administration directives that threaten to cut federal funding for public schools with diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. A lawsuit was brought by the National Education Association and the American Civil Liberties Union. They accused President Donald Trump of violating teachers' due process and First Amendment rights. The U.S. Education Department told schools and colleges they needed to end any practice that differentiates people based on their race. States were given until the end of today to submit certification of their schools' compliance, but some have indicated they would not comply with the order. Well, check your pants and purses, because if you bought a Lotto 47 ticket in Kalamazoo lately, you could be a millionaire. In yesterday's drawing, one ticket matched all 6 winning numbers to win the nearly $5.5 million jackpot. The Michigan Lottery says that ticket was purchased at the Speedway on Southwest, the Speedway there, and each Lotto 47 ticket costs $1. And we round out the first 6 minutes of news in East Lansing, where if you have the money, you have the rare opportunity to get your hands on a massive Michigan State University Spartan Head helmet logo from one of 3 scoreboards. There is an auction going on right now through Friday, May 9th. The biggest one weighs about 1,300 pounds and is 26 feet wide, 29 feet tall, and a foot deep. They're huge. The bidding starts at $500.
I just want to know what people want to do with this.
I don't know.
Like, would it just be like a yard ornament, or like
hang it on a barn? I don't know. They're honestly in pieces right now because they're that big, but good luck if you're interested.
Honestly, it's such a cool little memorabilia thing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also pretty cool. It's our forecast. We're going to see some very nice weather for the rest of tonight. Rain showers for tomorrow, but then nice into the weekend.
All right, full forecast after the break, and then later here on 6 News at 5:30. The new sequel, The Accountant 2, is coming out this weekend. We're taking an advanced look in this week's popcorn picks. Keep it right here.